Hey, what's going on, everybody? Eric here, creator of Empowered, and today is issue 7. So this is episode 7 of our tutorial series, and today is super important because we are going over how to navigate the map of Empowered. So first up, we're going to take a quick peek at the iconography and how everything is laid out, and then we're going to go hands-on on the board so you can see what it's like. Let's talk about map icons. Map icons are the images on the board that help you read and navigate the map. They also provide a bonus or a special effect based on where they are. First up, we have the no entry icon. So this means that a player cannot stop on or occupy this space unless given a special ability. Here, we have the environment zone icons. That's your market, your tree, and your skyscraper. These provide a bonus to battles and events when you are adjacent to them. Remember that these will come in the form of your hits, shields, and clues. Next up, we have this icon, which is your location zone icon. This is the space on the map where your location cards are played. Next up, we have roads. It can look like this, or like this. They all do the same thing, and they are responsible for connecting zones together so that you know where you can move. Next up, we have our spawn points. Now, these are colored, highlighted icons that let you know where your character will spawn based on their reputation. They look something like this, and we have the vigilante, the villain, and the hero. Remember, this game is colorblind friendly, so we do have icons to represent those as well. Next up are your plot twist and backstory slots. This is where those little icons actually go next to the events, and that little burst icon tells you the token placement when you turn the page and have to set up for a new spread. With that out of the way, let's look at the map real time. Okay, so here we have the map, and this is the full bird's eye view. We can see that everything is connected. We got roads, we got icons, but what we need to do is see this map in action. So let's go live to the table and check it out. Okay, so here we are in real time. Here's the physical board. Couple things to note. These little guys here are some 3D printed buildings that may or may not be coming with the game. However, they are not required, so you can always take them off and you'll see that your skyscraper icon is there, whereas over here we have the market. But the game can be played with or without them, as long as you remember that those are your environment zones. Next up to remember is that this is an adventure book. It is a page-turning comic book. So any roads that you see here that connect but hit the spine of the book, these are considered to connect to each other. So we have 2 up there and 2 down here. Let's actually set up the map as if we were going to be starting a brand new game. So the first thing you'll notice is that we have the hero, vigilante, and villain spawn points. What you want to look for in the location deck are the corresponding spawn point cards that match those. So up in the yellow, we have the police department, and that's going to be placed right on top. We have the memorial square, and we have the lounge safe house. And you can see that these do color match the reputations themselves. They also have icons to remind you of which pawns and which players would spawn there. Next up, you'll notice that we have our backstory and plot twist icon slots, as noted earlier in the video. Over here, you can see that the little starburst symbols are present in these circles, which means we have to start those icons in those spaces. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to place them down right there. Next up, we have our 4 empty locations that you can see look like this. And what we're going to do is we are going to reach into our location deck, and we're looking for cards that say issue 1, if this is the easy mode, and then page 1 to 2. This is the first and second page, which normally would be designated by the numbers on the bottom corner. And you're going to draw 4 cards from the top of that deck. So we're going to take some cards, shuffle them up. All right, so we'll draw from the deck over here and start placing them randomly. So first up, we have Central Park. You can see it says issue 1, page 1 to 2, and it has a 3 difficulty sewer on it. So we're going to place that right there. Next up, we have Little B Comics, which has an interactability. We're going to place that right there. We have Vigilante Base that also has a sewer on it. We're going to place that one there. And then we have The Docks, which happens to have an item on it. We're going to place that right there. So now all of our location slots have locations in them, and they are ready to be explored. Next up, we're going to take 1 pawn of each type. So we have a criminal, we have a cop, and we have a mysterious bystander. So next up, you're going to look for the alley zones. So there's one over here and one over there. And of course, those do change based on the spread. you're going to take your cop, which has a reputation of being good or a hero, and you're going to place it in the alley zone closest to the respective spawn point that matches that. So here's the police department. It is yellow. It has the hero icon and the cop icon. Next, we'll do the same thing for a criminal in the alley zone closest to the lounge safe house. Next up, we have Mysterious Bystander, who does have the reputation of vigilante. However, compared to the cop and the criminal, they are placed in the closest free zone to their respective spawn point. So that would be the park. And the only thing left to do is to find the city street locations. So remember, city streets usually contain a sewer, and they also contain an object. So we're going to find both city street locations. Then you'll reach into your bag of object tiles and draw one for each space and place it with the face side up. So here we have a stop sign over there, and in the bottom here we have a garbage can. So these are meant to represent the city streets that are in between these separate locations or these buildings. City streets always contain a sewer of some degree of difficulty and your object. This garbage can happens to provide a hit or a clue, and this stop sign is providing a hit or a shield. Last but not least, starting the game, if you remember, I had chosen the green science stick type character, and he was in fact a hero. I'm starting him off that way, which means he would start in the heroic spawn point or the police station. So let's start with movement. Basic movement is always 2 zones. All of these spaces are considered a zone, even your environment zones. But if you recall, that icon right there means that I cannot stop or occupy that space unless otherwise allowed. So I'm free to move through that zone, but I cannot stop there, and it still counts as 1 towards my movement. Up at the top, you'll also notice that it says downtown no PvP, and that means the specific parameters for this spread is that there is no player versus player. These abilities do change on every major spread. So what could I do on my turn in terms of moving and navigating? If I wanted to move from here, I have a couple options. The roads will show you what is connected and which direction you can move. Keep in mind that there are smaller roads always connected to the environment zones so that you can get their bonus if you are adjacent to them. If I wanted to use my basic movement of 2, I could take my character and move 1 into this alley and then 1 down into the vigilante base. What I couldn't do is go 1 into the alley and then 1 into the skyscraper because I cannot occupy that space. I could also move 1 over to the docks and then down, or 1 over to the docks and then 1 through this connecting space into the city streets. Now let's say I happen to start at this alley zone. What if I wanted to use that sewer? How would I do that? Sewers essentially act as a teleport between different spots on the map. So anywhere you see a sewer, including sewers that are on locations, are now viable options to pop out of should you use them. How do we do that? I would simply say I'm going to move 1 into this spot that has a sewer. So I've used 1 of my movement and I have 2. And then I'm going to look at the cost here. So this is a 2 difficulty sewer. I would then take my green movement superpowered dice and I would roll for success. If I exceed the number, which I got a 4 here and the difficulty is 2, I can pop up on any visible sewer and continue with my 1 remaining movement into the next zone as long as I'm able to move there legally. Now, what can I do with everything else? Well, after I do my movement, so let's say I move my character over to here, and keep in mind that you don't have to move the full 2 spaces, you can move only 1 if you so choose. And also keep in mind that once you have a movement superpower unlocked, you might have all other kinds of options for how you navigate the map. Once I'm in this space, what can I do next? There's no pawns or players around me, so I can't battle, but I still have my interact action. I can use my interact action to interact with this card and use its ability, or I can use the interact action to try and pick up this object. You'll simply take the object and flip it over to check its difficulty. So this is a difficulty of 3. Now, if you notice, the objects also have the gray hand or the black hand icon, and that means that you're actually going to take your black and gray fighting style dice, and you're going to make a check similar to what you did when you were trying to use the sewer. So for this stop sign, I am trying to roll a 4, 5, or 6 in order to say that I'm strong enough to pick it up and carry it with me. So there we go. I've rolled a 6, which means I can take that object and place it onto my character board where object slots are. Okay, so what exactly are we going to do with these locations? How do we use them? So to start, I'm going to take my player and I'm going to move 2 zones down to Little B Comics. Next, I'm going to use my interact action to draw 1 item card from the top of the deck and place it on my character board. And then I still have my battle action. Now I can use battle actions to fight pawns of any kind. And remember, I can fight any pawn. So even though I am a hero, if I decide that I'm going to try and change up the way I'm playing this game or turn over a new leaf and start becoming a villain or a vigilante, then I can attack any of these respective pawns. And of course, you can also use your battle action to fight against other players, but there's no PvP right now. More on both of those later. The last thing I can use my battle action for is engaging in the events. Now, we don't know what special event is going on in Little B Comics, but if I use my battle action to engage with this event, then I'm going to follow that icon, which means flip the card. So I'm going to slide my player piece off the card, and then I'm going to flip the card over. So we can see at Little B Comics that there is a comic book convention going on. Now, what exactly that means, how we interact with this, what kind of event it is, we'll get more into that later. The last thing to note is that if you choose to engage a location that happens to have either of these icons beside it, that's the backstory or the plot twist, it simply means you have to draw one of those respective cards from the deck and apply it to the event that is on the other side. And that happens before you start the event. And last but not least, if I'm in a battle or an event that happens to be connected to one of these environment zones, as noted earlier, it means that when I'm in that event, I can actually generate on this spot a clue into my pool without even doing anything. Because what the game is saying is that whatever is going on at this Central Park location, which happens to be 2 lost dogs, it happens to also be taking place next to a market. So now that we have that out of the way, you can see how you're going to be navigating the map in this game. Keep in mind that every spread looks different, has a different layout, and has completely different spots for you to visit. The only thing left to do is to engage in some battles and engage in some events, and then you will be up to speed.